Alrighty, so day one of the Leeds Cup tournament is officially done, and as I said before, I am not going to review every single game, at least in the group stage in the Leeds Cup, unlike what I did last year. But instead, I'm only going to be reviewing the marquee games, and of course, games involving my team, that is Minnesota and the San Jose Earthquakes. But I'll also make a note in terms of the other resort that is going on, and that includes the jersey that I'm wearing, which this was one of the games that I did not watch, and I kind of regret I didn't watch this game because, man, we already had one major upset that happened in the Leeds Cup in a game that I definitely did not saw this coming. But at the same time, if you're a Los Verdes fan, you kind of saw this coming with the way that they love to use that devil magic to get an upset win. But we'll definitely get to that. We're gonna first talk about the games that I did watch, and I'll an extensive review for these game. And we start off with Atlanta taking on DC United. And I gotta say, one of the big thing that coming into this tournament that was a big controversy is the fact that, how the attendance gonna be. Is the attendance gonna be pretty bad? And it was pretty bad in this game. Now, it's not surprising because again, the fans have been spoken, even the supporter group have spoken about their displeasure of this tournament being a cash cow tournament and have been a big culprit of damaging the U.S. Open Cup. But yeah, pretty much it was very empty inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I mean, I mentioned that in the last Atlanta United home game that they had, probably the most emptiest I've seen inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But this was like, I would say there probably only like 10,000 fans showed up. That is probably the lowest the crowd I've seen an Atlanta United game in their history. But that being said, despite that, it turns out to be a very entertaining game because that's what the Leeds Cup is all about. Again, with all the controversy that is surrounded, I think people will start like the Leeds Cup because of the craziness that this tournament brings out, and this game kind of delivered that because yeah, I mean this was definitely turned into a bit of a shootout in the beginning, and also defense. It seems like they were still in their All-Star break in this game because there was barely any defense that was played in this game between DC and Atlanta. And that goal scoring fest started in the 4th minute when Benteke would score from Williams to give DC a 1-0 lead. Originally, this goal was disallowed for offside, but they took a very long look at this via VAR to see whether or not if it is indeed not offside, and indeed that of course is the case. By the way, one thing I want to mention in the Leeds Cup tournament is that there is going to be the offside line technology that we've seen in other competition like Copa America. And I think that's something that maybe MLS eventually is going to implement it, though I hope with the way that they implement this the offside line technology of with VAR is going to be a little bit better than what we saw in Copa America because yeah, Copa America had that technology, and let's just say that yeah, it was a bit of a disaster the way that they implemented it. And that's just putting it lightly because there was just so much controversy surrounding that. But that being said, I also think that was a gift from Cohen in there, who yeah, he just whiffed the clearance there and it goes right into the path of Williams. I mean, I'm pretty sure Josh Cohen was really wish that was offside because it was his error that caused the goal for Atlanta, and this won't be the only time that mistake at the back cost Atlanta in this game in terms of goals. But that being said, in the 10th minute, McVay would struck the post from close range, and I thought Atlanta has had problems dealing with headers early. This is not a big surprise because, after all, in the last time when they played against DC at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a guy called Christian Benteke scored a hat trick against them, and all of them came from the header. Silva then looked to try to get another, but he hits it right to Bono. But then in the 25th minute, Jared Trout would score to give the lead back to DC, and just again, Atlanta hitting the self-destruct button here with some sloppy defending there. I mean, it was just a simple long ball there where I think Williams just didn't deal with it whatsoever. In fact, he had it backwards and basically played Jared Stroud through there. And then Rios looked to try to tie the game up again, but he was robbed on a 1v1 opportunity. Oh, by the way, did I actually skip the part that Rios did score against Lennon? Yeah, I accidentally skipped that part where Danny Rios scored from Lennon, and it was the first shot for Lennon, just completely against the run of play because DC pretty much dominated this game. Apologies that I missed that because again there was a lot of goals in this one. But yeah, Daniel Rios, I'll tell you what a renaissance of a career he has had now with Atlanta. Ever since he has come to this team, and ever since he's part of Rob Valentino team, he has done very well with Atlanta and just been a goal scoring machine that I'm pretty sure Nashville maybe will be regretting letting him go, consider they have their issue in terms of goal scoring. But like I said, with some of the those goal scoring that he had, it doesn't really kind of matter in the way that Atlanta just on the other end just gifting DC goal. But though in the 32nd minute, Jared Stroud would not only score again. This time, I wouldn't say it's all on Atlanta. Well, maybe a little bit because they didn't really clear their lines cleanly in terms of that. But what a goal this was from Jared Stroud. Definitely in contention for goal of the tournament. A very similar goal to I think Darlington Natby scored for Atlanta, where he basically brought it down and hits this one all the volley. It's always very sweet when you see a player able to bring it down and hit a volley like that. So yeah, definitely a contention for goal of the tournament. Benteke then looked to make it 3-1, but he struck the post on the header. Atlanta was all over the place at the back up to this point. Now the good news is, so was DC because yeah, in the 38th minute, Lobjanitse would say anything you can do, I can do too. And even though I wouldn't say this was as impressive as what Jared Schreiber did, he basically cut open that entire DC defense and put it into the back of the net. So yeah, just like that, it was 3-2 in this game, and this is when I wrote, what is defending? Because it definitely was nowhere to be found in this game. It feels like both defense was still in their All-Star break and didn't realize the Leagues Cup has officially begun. Cohen then denied click from long range, and we do head to halftime with DC leading 3-2 in this one, and you knew the goal scoring wasn't going to stop in the second half, and it didn't. But in the second half, there was a huge shot for a penalty for Atlanta not given, and then the post would deny Dahome from close range. The post also has not been kind to DC up to this point. That was the third time that they hit the post up to that point. Stroud then tried to chip Cohen there, but he hits it onto the roof of the net as he was looking for his first career MLS hat trick, because I don't think Jared Shaw scored a hat trick doing his time with St. Louis and even doing his time with the Red Bulls. But in the 60th minute, Clickwood hits one right to Cohen before a lifeline was given to Atlanta as a penalty was given to them after VAR deemed that Bartlett pull down Rios in the box. It was the right call, though I'm kind of surprised the fact that the referee didn't get this one right in the first place because it was so obvious that Bartlett basically hold back Rios um and uh, and basically avoid him of getting a free header there. But nevertheless, that's what VAR is for. It's to correct some obvious mistake the referee made on his part. But yeah, that gives a penalty for Atlanta, a chance to tie the game up. But Bono says no. He denies Schleet from the spot there. And then Schleet did try to pounce on the rebound, but give credit to Alex Bono with some brave goalkeeping here. He knew that when he needs to get to there first, he's gonna have some contact with Schleets because Schleets was also trying to stab that one in, and Bono not only did just enough to clear it, but he definitely paid the price for it because, as I said, Schleets was also going for the ball at the same time, and yeah, that keep the game to 3-2 up to that point. Stroud then hits one right to Kohan in the 68th minute. By the way, Bono would stay in this game despite the fact that yeah he was down for a couple of minutes because of that moment. TRA then hits it wide from close. I just realized there was another game. Or there's another goal in this game. There was just plenty of chances. Defense, again, just non existent throughout this game. But in the 79th minute, another penalty was given to Atlanta. And this time it's Herrera, the one that brought down TRA in the box. So here comes Atlanta, a chance again to tie it from the spot. This time it's Danny Rios, the one that takes the penalty and he buries it. So yeah, that ties the game up at 3 apiece. And this also kind of makes me wonder why did they decide to put Schleet as the guy to take the penalty? I mean, it's not like he won the penalty here. I would assume you would give it to your most potent attacker up to take the penalty, but no, they didn't do it that the first time. Luckily for them, they got a redemption chance, and Rios made no mistake of that. And really, as the time winds down, it looked like both of these teams was really trying to push for a win and do not want to go to a PK because remember, in this Leagues Cup, there's no draw that is allowed. If a game remains tight, it goes to a PK shootout. And even though both of these teams will get a point for going to the PK shootout, you only get another extra point for winning the PK shootout. You don't get the maximum 3 points for winning the PK shootout, and that could be big coming into the last game that both of these teams will play against their Liga MX opponent, because we have seen before the difference between winning it in regulation and winning it in PK shootout could be a huge difference between you moving on to the next round and you getting eliminated from this tournament in the group stage. Armando then hits one right high from long range before he would sky another one, this time from the volley. And then Santos tried to chip Kohan from long range there, but he just missed that one here. Again, we've seen this happen so many times this season, where so many times when goalkeeper are way off his line, the opposing team is not going to be afraid to try to chip the goalkeeper, and it didn't miss by much in this instant too from Pedro Santos. But we do end regulation with a free draw, which means gonna go to a PK shootout. And in classic Leeds Cup fashion, it definitely took a while, but eventually Bono was able to deny Leeds again in round number 7. Something tells me that Bartosz Leeds is not going to be allowed to take a penalty ever again for Atlanta United. And both the penalty he missed was not good penalty whatsoever. But in the end, Atlanta and DC ends in a free draw, but it's DC, the one that gets the extra point with them winning 6-5 in the PK shootout. Shots in this one, 16 shots with 11 that Atlanta has. Both team had 8 shots on goal, 8 shots off target compared to 3 that DC had. 2 shots that was a block for the one that Atlanta has, and possession wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Atlanta has in this game. So DC again, they get the advantage now. Though you could say that maybe they still need to get a result in their next game as well if they want to advance. Same goes for Atlanta United too. I mean, at least the good news for Atlanta is that they get a point out of this game. They're not at least off to such a disastrous start like they did last year, where they got absolutely throttled by Inter Miami in the first game of the group stage in the Leeds Cup. But definitely still all to play for both of these teams, and still a chance that both of these teams can move on if they can beat their respective Liga MX opponent. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is Seattle versus Minnesota. So whenever Minnesota play against Seattle, they're not allowed to get a win. That's how it is. And really, I would say that this performance feels like a very Minnesota United performance, at least recently, where they held on for a long time and looked like they were gonna get something out of it, and then yeah, they gave up a late goal. And I also would like to say I feel really bad for Dane Sinclair in this game. I think this was probably the best game that Dane Sinclair has played. He bailed out this team multiple times in this game, and yet the defense, again, how many times I've said how bad this Minnesota defense has been, and for Seattle, it was kind of frustrating that they didn't get that opening goal, but once they did, that's when kind of the floodgates started to sort of open. Now, the first shot of the game did see De La Vega heads it right to Dane Sinclair as a foul was called, and then Dane Sinclair would deny Rustak from close range. Unsurprisingly, Seattle had most of the possession as the Loons were elected to sit back. Rustak would hit one wide from close range. The shots were free apiece up to that point for both of these teams, though the post denied Longwane from the header. And I would say that, Minnesota, despite the fact that they were defending a lot in this game, they had chances in this one as well. But I felt the Loons started to get into this game. They were looking good on the transition, which is something that they heavily rely on, especially on the road. De La Vega would puts it wide from long range before Morris heads it right to Dane Sinclair. And then in the 41st minute, Joao Paulo puts one into Tacoma there. Yeah, it was not a good shot there from Joao Paulo. Though, again, I'm not surprised the fact that Joao Paulo trying to score long range against Minnesota, because he's done that before. And then Bell just missed a free header, and yeah, that's one that he want to have back. I mean, I know John Bell hasn't started a lot of games for this team, but he did score in the last game against his former team, St. Louis, and he had a chance to do it again, and he probably will want to have that one back with the way that he had a big miss opportunity to give Seattle the 1-0 lead. But we do head to halftime, scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Dane Sinclair would deny Rodon as the flag went up, and then he denied Rusnak from close range as Seattle once again having the chances. They were creating some good momentum, and this is when we saw Aaron Ramsey decide to be a little bit aggressive in terms of bringing some of the starting power. They decided to bring in Tani in this game, and he almost made instant impact when Oluwaseyi puts it wide from long range before Thomas has to tip Rosales' shot over in the 63rd minute. And as I said, the sub seems like it helped the Loons here. They looked like they were more aggressive on the attack ever since the attacking sub, but those plans were all ruined in the 65th minute because yeah, Hassani Dotson, yeah, just a reckless challenge there on Ruidiaz. Like when I saw that, instantly I knew Dotson was in trouble because when you make that kind of sort of a challenge like that, it's always going to be a red card, and indeed it is. And this is also when I thought, well, if I didn't think that Minnesota was going to get anything out of this game, now they have no chance. I mean, there's no way you can get something out of this one. And again, in true Minnesota fashion, they hold on for so long that they kind of give you that hope that they did enough to get themselves a point to head to a PK shootout. But again, this is Minnesota after all, and you know all about disappointment with Minnesota sports team. But in the 71st minute, Baker Whiting would hit one right to Dane Sinclair before Oluwaseyi went in on goal there, but he was denied by Thomas, and that is one that Tani would want to have back because with the way that Tani has been very informed this season, that's one that he would think that he should have slots it in. But yeah, that's a chance that the Loons could regret because I know they're not going to get a lot of chances as the time winds down. Dane Sinclair then denied Leva from long range before Rusnak puts it high from long range. Minnesota was clearly playing for PKs and was looking for a point because Rohivmo is definitely activated. I mean, if it wasn't activated before, it is fully activated. And whenever Rohivmo activated, it doesn't go so well because after Tapias almost scored an own goal as he actually stick a leg out as the cross comes in, but fortunately Dane Sinclair was there to claim to it. In the 87th minute, the inevitable happened. Jordan Morris would score from Rothrock to give Seattle a 1-0 lead. I'm pretty sure everybody saw that coming, including me and a lot every Loons fan that were watching this game. Then he denied Chu from close in the 89th minute before a penalty was given to the Sounders after Shishoa brought down Rodon in the box. Yeah, this was a rough game for Samuel Shishoa in this one. But, Dane Sinclair, to his credit, he did not give up. He denied Rustek from the spot in the first minute stoppage time. And this is what I said. I feel bad for Dane Sinclair. This whole team deserve Dane Sinclair there a lunch or two or dinner or two because he was really the reason why this could have been more uglier than the 2-0 scoreline could be. And yeah, he was trying everything to keep the Loons in this game. But unfortunately, his defense would let him down one more time because in the fourth minute of stoppage time, Paul Frogrock, all of a sudden, he loved to score against Minnesota. He scored against Minnesota in the last game as well. He scored here from Morris to give Seattle a 2-0 lead. It came out just a brutal turnover there from Minnesota. And yeah, in the end, Seattle wins 2-0 against Minnesota. The shots in this one, 21 shots for the 12 that the Loons had, 4 shots on goal for the 11 that the Sounders had, 7 shots off target for the 2 that Minnesota has, 3 shots out of block for the 4 that Minnesota has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that Minnesota has in this game. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone saw this coming. You knew the Sounders were going to get a win against Minnesota. They pretty much dominate Minnesota whenever they play at Lumen Field, and that against the Loons one day, one day they're gonna win at Lumen Field. I will believe that one day they'll pull off a victory, just like how I said that the Quakes always struggle against Seattle, and then somehow in some way on one fateful day they pull off a big upset set against Seattle on the road. I feel like it is gonna eventually come, but today is not the day to do so. And now they got their backs against the wall. They need to win their next game against Necaxa to move on to the knockout stage. Though part of me kind of feel like, you know what, I don't mind if this team get eliminated in the Leeds Cup because again, I think this team definitely needs some rest and just need a regroup as well. I mean, this has just been a really bad run of form that this team has gone ever since the beginning of June. And not to mention you get a chance to get some little reinforcement and Eric Ramsey have a chance to work with this team with the new reinforcement that he brought in that you can use that as a time to make a playoff push late in the season. But for now, it's another frustrating defeat for the Loons. It's another game where they blow or gave up a goal. I almost said they blow a lead in this one. They never had the lead in this game, but certainly another game where they gave up a late goal to lose another heartbreaking game. Now, moving on, in the next one is LAFC versus Cholos. Now, I didn't write too much notes in the second half because I want to thank LAFC to really just kind of put this game out of hand, especially in the 51st minute. As soon as they score that third goal, I kind of just almost tune out to do this game because I knew this game was done. I knew Cholos were not going to come back, and Cholo themselves looked like they realized it too because I will say that they actually play relatively well, at least in the first half against LAFC, and at time they really put LAFC on the brink in this game. But as the old saying goes, when you don't take your chances against a superior team like LAFC, you are going to get punished, and that's also something that I've heard that's been a problem for Cholos in Liga MX, where it doesn't matter how many chances that they create, they're not being clinical in front of goal, and it has cost them dearly at times this season in Liga MX, and it cost them again in this game against LAFC. Now, early on, Rodriguez would deny Oliveira from close range before Efrain Alvarez would puts it over from long range. So Efrain Alvarez making his return in this one, the former Galaxy player, and he definitely was up for this game. And why not? I mean, you're playing against LAFC, and you know he was one of the player that was on the other side of the El Trafico rivalry. I thought the game was very open early in this one, though Kamara would miss a sitter from close range. Yeah, that's definitely one that he wants to have back. The good news is Oliveira kind of picked up his slack because just 2 minutes later he would score for Bawanga to give LAFC a 1-0 lead. That chemistry of Oliveira Bawanga, it is just deadly in this game and really throughout the season as well. Now there was definitely a question whether or not if it was offside because it looked like Bawanga was very close to being in an offside position. It wasn't, so the goal, of course, what was given. LAFC take the early 1-0 lead, and then we had a very scary incident where Rivera, the Cholos, one of the Cholos player, took an awkward fall and he basically slammed his head on the turf. That is always a very scary incident when you see a player slam his head onto the grass turf there, and you know he actually looked like he got knocked out at least for a bit. They had to bring in the stretcher in, and while this drama that was going on, the Cholos manager Juan Carlos Osorio, remember him? Used to be the Mexican national team head coach. Yeah, he was not happy whatsoever. In fact, he got so upset that he decided to not only have to let the ref know, but he actually headbutt the ref and decided to do a Zidane here. And of course, obviously, I gotta mention Chin, Chin, Zidane and something French related because obviously today is the day when the opening ceremony is happening. And by the way, I'm kind of watching it as we do the review, the replay, of course. That is the opening ceremony has already happened this afternoon. But yeah, again, when you decided to go full Zidane there, yeah, you're gonna obviously get a red card. And in some way, I would also say that's peak Leeds Cup and also peak Concacaf moment where you see a manager get sent off because he decided to headbutt a referee and just completely just kind of a rush of blood there from Juan Carlos Osorio, and he's not a manager that's known for those kind of moments. And something tells me not only he's not going to be available in the next game, most likely he might not be available for the rest of the tournament because something tells me he's probably gonna not only get a hefty fine but probably gonna get a suspension for doing that. So yeah, he of course was sent off. Just kind of a bit of a bizarre scene with that scary incident, and then just a very conky cap level s kind of moment that happened in that play. But by the time the play resumed, this is when Cholo started to press. But first Rodriguez did deny Bawanga from long range, and then Castellan the would have a shot that was deflected and goes wide. The game continued to be open, and LAFC, I thought they got to be careful because as much as I know they're a team that loves to go on the transition, so was Cholos. I mean, Cholos at times were being very threatening on the transition too, and then they kind of sort of took over the game. Castellan then missed one badly from long range, but then Balanta would hit one that just missed wide from long range. There's again Cholos. They started to get some good possession and chances. Alvarez had a chance in the 34th minute, but he curls it wide from long range. And now the shots were 8-7 in favor of Cholos, and LAFC. Again, they've just been very sloppy ever since the delay. They just cannot go on the transition, cannot play that outlet ball. Just keep getting pinned back at times, and the possession, in fact, was 81 to 20 to 19 in favor of Cholos. 81 to 19. Now, obviously, I know LAFC is a team that they're a team that's not built on possession, and they're a team that always have been built on hitting teams on the transition. But that is crazy to see the possession was heavily in favor of Cholos. Blanco then hits one right to Lariz in the 41st minute before Alvarez curls it wide from close range. You just kind of had a sense that LAFC need halftime because they were getting pinned deep. They were holding on for dear life with the pressure that Cholos has had. But if there's one thing that LAFC can do, and there's one thing that, as I mentioned, Cholos cannot afford to do, is miss these chances because LAFC is going to be lethal. They just need that one counter attack, and it happened in the 43rd minute. As this time it's Bawanga, the one that scored from Oliveira to make it 2-0 in favor of LAFC. It came off of a lightning counter attack and also completely against the run of play as well because it looked like Cholos was knocking on the door to tie the game up, and that has to be very demoralizing if you're Cholos with the way that you put so much pressure against LAFC and then you got sucker punched because you allow them to go on the other end and go quickly on the other end to score a goal. Though Oliveira looked to try to score the third goal of the game. He was in on goal there, but he was victimized by the post. In fact, he clipped the post there before Rodriguez would deny Oliveira from close, and then Perez would hit one right to Lariz in the 11th minute of stoppage time because we had a lot of stoppage time in the first half because of that lengthy injury that we had in the first 15 minutes. But we do head to halftime with LAFC leading 2-0. In the second half, they would make it 3-0 and pretty much put this game out all all out of doubt as Oliveira would score here to make it 3-0 in favor of LAFC. And I gotta say, he definitely earned that one because he pounced on the rebound there, and he definitely got contact at the back by one of the Cholos players. He was definitely down in pain, but obviously, again, sometimes, of course, if you're going to be that guy to try to pounce on those rebound stuff, you're going to have to pay the price and get contact. And again, that was brave there from Kike Oliveira to take that contact that slots at home. The good news is he did get back up and he looked like he was okay, but definitely one of the more painful goal that you will see a player score, and probably the most painful goal that Kike Oliveira has scored. But yeah, that made it 3-0, and then it looked like it was 4-0 with Bawanga puts it into the back of net, but the flag did not agree with him. So the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. It was very close, but I think it was the right call. Castaneda then hits it over from the free kick before Bogusz puts it high on the free kick. By the way, again, this is what I didn't really take too much notes because I knew this game was well and truly done. Martinez would then puts it wide from close in the 81st minute. LAFC clearly want more. They were looking to try to get the fourth goal. Bogusz also trying to get on the score sheet because why not? Mateusz Bogusz has been red hot coming into this tournament, but he got denied by Rodriguez in the first minute of stoppage time. But in the end, it was a pretty easy win, 3-0 win that LAFC had against Cholos. The shots in this one, 20 shots for both of these teams, 9 shots on goal for the 4 that Tijuana has, 6 shots off target for the 4 that LAFC had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 6 that Tijuana has, and possession-wise, Tijuana does have more of the possession, but again, this is a classic example of possession doesn't always mean everything. And when you face the likes of LAFC, you got to bury your chances because if you don't bury your chances, they only need one or two chances, and they go the other way and score. They're very similar to what we see Inter Miami has done lately, where you don't bury those chances against Inter Miami, you're gonna get punished because they only need one chance, and they can score with those lethal finishing. And yeah, again, after this game, it is pretty clear that LAFC, with the performance that they had, and I think they could even be better. I think in their sense, they feel like it's like this was gonna kind of maybe on par or just a little bit below par their performance because of the chances that they've given to Cholos. But in terms of the attacking wise, man, this is a very scary team, and this is not a team you want to face if they go into the knockout stage. Now, moving on, in terms of looking at the other resort, because now I've gone over the 3 games I've watched. Now I'm gonna go over the games that I didn't watch. And again, one of the biggest regret of me not watching all these games that sometimes I would miss out on a very entertaining game, and this was one of them between Pumas and Austin, where yeah. This is really the first big upset of this tournament, and probably one of the biggest upset we're gonna see in the Leagues Cup group stage because we all know about Austin and how they have been absolutely horrendous when it comes to these kind of international tournament and facing against other team. I mean, we all know what happened last year with their humiliation in CCL, and also them not getting out of the group with the likes of Mazatlan and Juarez in in their group. But instead, in this game, they use what they call devil magic to beat Pumas in this game because despite the fact that they were down a man for about 60 minutes or so, or I would say maybe 55 minutes or so, they somehow win this game too. It was Alex Rain, the one that gets the opening goal there from Austin for Dreyusi, and what a goal that was from Alex Rain too. You usually do not think Alex Rain would be the one that score a long range effort. Usually from if it's like from long range effort, he would rather pass than shoot. But here he shoot, and guess what? It went into the back of net, so that gave Austin a 1-0 lead. But then Bakary would get his second yellow card of the game, and you're thinking, well, this is where the fun will end. And keep in mind, the reason why I say this is a big upset is because Pumas, they have not lost a game coming into this one. They're actually second in Liga MX and are playing very well right now in their season. So yeah, this was a game where it looked like that it was going to be an easy win against an Austin team that's been very up and down this season. But then instead, one thing that, as I said about Austin, and that even if when they're up and down, they have these kind of performance where forget about the expectancy goal. Forget about the odds. They'll somehow use some of that devil magic to win the game. And here you go. In the 45th minute, Jarzy Zardes would score from Pereira to somehow give Austin a 2-0 lead, despite they were down to 10 men. Now, they did give up a goal right before halftime with Avia scoring here. But in the 55th minute, Bayusi would score from rain to give Austin a 3-1 lead. And that's when I know that, yeah, look like Austin is going to pull this off, isn't it? Because this is the thing. Even though they were getting badly outshot against Pumas, this is what Austin it has been built this season. They can be outshot crazily, but at times somehow they become lucky in terms of finding these chances, being clinical in terms of it, and somehow they found themselves 3-1 up, despite the fact that the two of the free goals that they score was when they're down to 10 men. Now Pumas did pull within one back as Martinez scored from Dorade to make it 3-2. And then Pumas actually had a penalty in stoppage time. And here comes Stefan Cleveland. No, not Brad Stuver. Stefan Cleveland, the former Sounders backup goalkeeper. He hasn't got a lot time with Austin, but he made it in his appearance. And I think this is the debut too, because it's been pretty much Brad Stuver in, in, in goal for every single game for Austin. But here, he was a big hero here, making that big save there to preserve the lead and ultimately get the win for Austin and probably the biggest upset we have seen so far in Leagues Cup. So, like I said, this is a great night for MLS. This is something that I love to see because in it. This is kind of what sparks the rivalry between MLS and Liga MX, where you would think that there might be games where an MLS team might be heavily favored against Liga MX team, and Liga MX team sometimes considering a surprise, and it can also go the other way around. This, of course, was the case, and again for Austin, they already did something that they haven't done at least in the last Leagues Cup tournament, and that, of course, he had a win against in this tournament, especially against a Liga MX team, and now I mean, whatever Austin do from now on, it's going to consider a success because consider the failure that they have in terms of tournament play. They'll be very happy they get this win, and again, creating this big upset of beating against one of the more informed team in the beginning of this season in Liga MX. And then the other resort was an OMLS matchup between Orlando and Montreal. And this game again just kind of summarized how Orlando has clearly they woke up in terms of the slumber that they had in the first half of the season. This is very similar to what we saw last season, where Orlando kind of got off to a slow start, but eventually they picked it up, and yeah, we're seeing it again now with them now starting to find a way to score, put the ball into the back of the net, and it started with Dagerdan for Olsen getting the first goal for Orlando before Facu Torres would score from Enrique to make it 2-0, and then Enrique would return the favor from Torres to make it 3-0 in favor of Orlando City. Who would have thought that the answer for Orlando City in terms of that number 9 position is not named Duncan McGuire and Luis Moreira. Those two players are the guys that throughout the season we were talking that they were who is going to be the goal scorer of this team, and everybody forgot that Romero Enrique is still with this team, and like I said, he is making the best of his opportunity right now, and this is where Oscar Perez got a really difficult decision to make once Duncan McGuire returned from being with the U.S. Olympic team, because yes, you want to still maybe put Duncan McGuire there because he's your main man, but Romero Enrique is just red hot right now. He just cannot stop scoring in goals. So in some way, it's gonna be a very good problem for Oscar to have. Of do you rely on the hot hand or do you rely on your regular starter that is Duncan McGuire? But in the 57th minute, another guy that has been doing very well is Hayden. He scored from Ladero to make it 4-0 in favor of Orlando City. Joseph Martinez does get one back for Montreal because you know that he is still the father of Orlando City, even though I know that doesn't mean too much anymore. But he scored from Lassiter to at least pull within one, but that's as close as Orlando City has. Actually, pull within three. They got one back in terms of it. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much all the resort from the Leeds Cup. At least for day one. Tomorrow, once again, I'll probably review a couple of games, including the Quakes versus Chivas. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.